Hey self-publishing navigators, I'm travel humour writer Simon Michael Pryor, and this video is all about a very useful writing technique called show, don't tell. Now you may have heard the expression show, don't tell many times, and there's countless videos and documents about it on the internet. But just in case you haven't heard about it, I'm going to walk you through it. And then I'm going to share a technique for using it that works well for me. That might not work well for everybody, but it's a technique that you're welcome to try yourself and see if it can help you with your writing. And here's another piece of good news. Non-fiction writers, such as memoir writers, have the most enormous advantage over fiction writers when it comes to show, don't tell. I'm going to show you that very shortly. So what is show, don't tell? The most famous quote on the subject is attributed to the novelist Anton Chekhov, who said, "Don't tell me the moon is shining, show me the glint of light on broken glass." What did he mean by that? So let's delve a bit deeper into Chekhov's words. Which expression do you think pulls you, the reader, more into the story? Is it A, the moon was shining brightly, or B, as I walked along, I noticed the reflection of moonlight in shards of glass hanging from a broken window? It's obviously B. And why? Because readers want to walk with you through the story. They don't want to be on the outside looking in. They want to be in the story and they want to be part of the story. They want to hear what you hear. They want to see what you see. They want to feel what you feel. And they want to smell what you smell. Now, many reviews of my books have said things like, "He made me feel like I was there with him," or "I felt like I've met the characters," or "You feel like you were in the adventure with them." Show, don't tell allows me to do this. So, where do we start? Well, first of all, let's look at what we don't do. There's a massive trap in memoir. Massive. And you see it in so many memoirs. It is where somebody starts a sentence with the words "I felt" or "it was." If I write "I felt good" or "it felt good," am I allowing the reader to feel good as well? Or am I telling them that I feel good? In order to illustrate this, I'm going to read a couple of lines from my books where I'm using the technique show, don't tell. I'm going to read you two excerpts from my book, The Scenic Land Radio, which is an account of some time I spent living in remote rural New Zealand with my girlfriend Fiona. For anyone who's read the book, this is the part in chapter 7 where the family take me hiking 4 hours inland from the nearest road. Are you sitting comfortably? Then I'll begin. We parked in a small gravel semicircle surrounded by Jurassic Park jungle. I stepped out, rubbed my hands together, and gazed at the impenetrable rainforest. Exotic bird calls echoed through the trees, and I inhaled the wonderful smell of warm, wet morning earth. I tilted my head and listened to the ripples of an unseen river. Now in that paragraph, I explained what I could see, I explained what I could hear twice, and I explained what I could smell. At no point did I say "it was" or "I felt." Let's skip ahead a couple of lines. "How far is it to the campsite?" I asked. "About 4 hours walk," said Linda. "We'll follow the river." 4 hours walk, I said. 4 hours? Linda led us in a single file. My boots crunched on loose pebbles as the track became rockier and narrower. Trickling water dripped down moss-covered rocks, and I stared up at the straight trunks of tall ferns. I could have expressed that by saying the campsite was a long way from the road. The path was rocky and narrow. The vegetation was wet, the plants were tall. I've said the same thing as those, but I've drawn the reader in to walk alongside me and experience what I'm experiencing. I'm letting them feel what I feel and hear what I hear. So as I said at the beginning, there's many videos and documents about how to show, not tell. And what I'm going to share just works for me. You might find something completely different works for you. But if you want to follow what I do, here's how I do it. Now this part does require you to have complete silence, so if someone's got the television on in the background or the dog's barking and needs attention or something, then Maybe watch the rest of this video now and then come back and watch it again when you're alone and you've got complete silence. First, find a section in your book where you're describing a scene, where you're tempted to say, "It was cold," or "I felt hot," or "The view was amazing," or something like that. Now, this is where memoir writers gain a massive advantage over fiction writers, because we're writing about things that actually happened. We were actually there at the place we're describing, whereas fiction writers have invented it and they have to imagine it. I do appreciate this next part might be painful for any memoir writers who are writing about traumatic experiences, right? I mean, I write about travel, so recollections for me are quite pleasurable, but I do appreciate that not everyone's writing about travel, and this might be hard for some people. However, please stay with me and persevere. Okay, are we ready? Let's go. Close your eyes. Close them now. You don't need to watch me saying this, you just need to be able to hear me. Imagine that you're in the place you're describing at the exact time when you were there. With your eyes closed, look to the left, look to the right, and look straight on. What can you see in each direction? What can you hear? What can you smell? What can you feel? What can you taste? Now, let's delve a bit deeper into each one of these. Keep your eyes closed. What can you see directly in front of you? What can you see in the distance, in each direction, left, right, and straight on? What can you hear directly in front of you? And what can you hear in the background? Reach your arms out. What can you feel? What's the temperature of the air? What are you standing on? What does the floor feel like? What sound does it make if you stomp your feet up and down? List how the experience affects each of your 5 senses. Now, taste we don't use too often in books, but it is an occasional useful thing to note. And the really important thing is to write down everything that you've experienced. Write down what you've seen in each direction, what you've smelt, what you've felt, what you've touched and tasted. Write everything down, even if you think it's not relevant to the story. Then go back to your story, delete any sentence where you've put "it was" or "it felt," and replace it with something that you just felt, or you just saw, or you just smelt while your eyes were closed. For some scenes you might only have one of the items that you experienced. For a more complicated descriptive scene you might have 4 or 5. So this is how I do it. This is how I show the glint of light on broken glass. This is how I bring the reader along on my journey. This is how I show, don't tell. If you want to find out more about me or about the travel humour books that I write, please visit my website at simonmichaelpryor.com. Thank you very much for watching. See you on the next one.